Hey guys, Jamaican Jazz here with another basic guide. Today we'll be looking at player housing. Player housing is a newly added feature to Bitcraft that will give players access to their own personal space that they can decorate and use however they please. But why build a house though? The housing system is designed to cover varying aspects of gameplay for both players and settlements. For players, housing will provide their own individual space that can be decorated with furniture for visual appeal, filled with storage systems unique to housing that provides larger capacity for both regular items as well as cargo compared to their overworld counterparts. An upkeep-free environment for those looking to play the game casually without worrying about maintaining supply timers, a place where progression over time can be made that isn't lost, and social opportunities that could include things like meeting rooms for empires, storage warehouses for those logistically inclined, as well as hangout areas for friends to relax in. For settlements, housing also has its advantages. While there is an initial material cost to build residential buildings within a claim, once residents have moved into a settlement's housing area, they will start to generate income for the settlement over time. Many residents within a settlement can produce a large amount of income to help with funding material and supply costs. The housing system is aimed at making larger settlements feel more like cities, encouraging large quantities of players to settle within their walls. More players staying within a settlement also promotes inflow and outflow of materials, which will also help to promote trade. So how do you get started? To begin your housing and development adventure, you'll first need to talk to the big man himself, Bricko. You'll also need level 2 construction, which can be easily obtained after completing a trading task or spending a small amount of time terraforming or building structures like walls or stations. Bricko can be found next to the housing residence building in any of the starter towns, as well as claims who have purchased a business voucher for him. First, make sure to buy the house deed from Bricko, and while you're there, also get the wicker furniture blueprints, as these will unlock furniture recipes for you to build later. Without the deed, you won't be able to move into your house, and without the blueprints, you won't be able to craft furniture. Speaking of crafting furniture, the devs have also added the new construction station. This is where any of the new furniture pieces that can be placed inside a housing area will be crafted. Creating furniture is now another way to train the construction skill, in addition to trade-in tasks, structure building, and terraforming. Once you have the deed, you can go to a player housing entrance at any of the starter towns, or at a residential building in a settlement and choose to move in. Your housing space is determined by the level of your deed, and can be upgraded at Bricko by providing the relevant material. For example, the second level of a deed can be upgraded by handing in a beginner's codex to Bricko. Once inside, you'll have your own personal space to decorate at your own discretion, so have fun decorating. Keep in mind that your house is in a separate space of the game world, so none of your stuff will be lost if you decide to move or get evicted from a settlement location. The structures you move into merely provide an access point to your house, so you shouldn't have to worry about losing anything inside. If things do decide to go missing, you can also check the nearest recovery cache to see if your items are in there. Starter towns have an infinite amount of housing slots that players can move into, however residence buildings inside claims will only have a limited number of slots available. You can only be moved into one location at a time. If you wish to relocate to another location, then you'll have to visit the new location you want to move to and press the relocate button. There will be a moving period where your house will be inaccessible if the new location is outside of the current town or claim you're currently located at. This moving period can become instant if you remove all the furniture and items inside your house, effectively emptying it out before you move. Any deployables or players inside a house that is being relocated will be moved outside when the moving process is initiated. If you want to move across regions, keep in mind that currently you will only be allowed to do so if your house is empty. Also a warning, at the time of making this video, dismantling furniture will result in it being destroyed instead of being picked up. Picking up the furniture instead of destroying it is the intended feature, so be cautious early on just in case this hasn't been implemented yet, so you don't lose furniture by accident. The housing system also comes with its own set of permissions roles to control who can enter your house and what they're allowed to do. You can change this by pressing the Edit Permissions button. The owner of the house is not transferable, and each player can only own one house at any given time. The co-owner status can be given and functions similarly to co-owner status within the claim. The builder role controls who will be allowed to build and move furniture inside the house. The inventory role controls who will have access to storage inside the house, and the visitor role controls who is allowed to even visit that house in the first place. There is also a no access role that specifically acts as a blacklist to stop specific players or groups from entering your house. There are also new layers of filtering within roles that have been added. The player filter targets a specific player with that name and applies that role's rules accordingly. The claim filter will only allow members of a specific claim to enter the house. The empire filter targets a specific empire and applies rules for that role. And the everyone option applies the role to everyone. The everyone filter is only applied to the visitor role by default, allowing anyone to access your house. However, you can remove this and grant access to specific players only if desired. You can also mix and match filters for varied results. To visit another player's house, you'll need to go to where that house is located. If they have visitors set to everyone, you should be able to see their house being listed. You can also press the full directory button to see all the other players that are currently housed at that location. If you don't meet the requirements to enter their house, you can then request access, which they can either choose to accept or deny. If you're accepted, you'll be granted visitor access, and if you're denied, you'll be given no access to prevent spammy requests popping up for the other player. These settings are not set in stone and can be changed by the owner of the house at any time in the future. Settlement owners will also be able to see details of residents currently living in each of their residential buildings, with additional options to manage those residents. If space is required for any reason, an eviction notice can be initiated on the target resident. This will start a timer, which will remove that resident from the building upon finishing. If you're on the receiving end of the eviction notice, don't worry. You won't lose your house, you simply need to move to another location to be able to access it again. This is the different tiers of housing structures that claims can build for those wondering what the residential buildings will look like in settlements. The tier of housing does not affect a player's ability to move into that location, it merely provides an access point to a player's house. Residential structure tiers only affect the total slots available in that particular structure. The higher the tier, the more slots available. The size of a player's house is directly tied to the level of their housing deed, so don't be scared to move into a location if you like it. Just to recap, to start your player housing adventure, you'll need level 2 construction, and you'll need to purchase the deed and the wicker recipes from Brico. Furniture can be crafted at the new construction station by bringing the appropriate materials. Furniture can function as decoration, but can also be used to store items and cargo. Starter towns have infinite housing slots, while settlement residential buildings have limited slots. The player's housing deed can be upgraded in a similar fashion to some deployables, by giving the necessary materials to Brico. Moving into a location for the first time is instant, and moving to a location in a different town or claim will trigger a waiting period unless your house is empty, in which case it will also be instant. The housing system has permissions that can be edited at the owner's discretion to control who can visit their house and what they can do inside of it. You can also visit other players' houses by going to the town or settlement that house is in. Settlements can benefit from residents living within their claim, as they produce passive income for each individual resident, and players looking for a more casual location to stay that doesn't require supply upkeep can use housing as a more relaxed alternative to set up at their own pace. Settlement owners can evict residents as well to make space, and if you're on the receiving end of this, simply find a new location to move into, and your house progress will remain intact. Keep in mind that Bitcraft is currently in early access, and additional changes to player housing will happen in the future. If you found this information useful, feel free to leave a like and a subscribe to help the channel grow. And if you want to catch me live, you can follow me at twitch.tv/JamaicanJazz. Happy building, and until the next video, all hail the great Giga Chad Brico. Peace!